Hi, and welcome to the space where you'll find a heart for home. Hopefully, you'll enjoy, you'll be encouraged, you'll be blessed by your time here. Let's get into it. So, here in this video today, we're gonna just have a chat with me kind of vibe while I do some DIY decor projects for this our home. Just wanted to share a little bit on a little mini series that I'm gonna start, and I call it Little Life Lessons. It's just where I just want to share just little things that I would have picked up, some little truths that I've learned, some little revelations and stuff. Just sharing even from my own experiences, from the Word of God, from just life. So the first thing that I want to share is seasons change. Now this is a big one for me because I have this thing about seasonal change that I've come to appreciate so much now, and it just speaks so much to me in terms of the fact that nothing remains the same for any extended period of time. It's just as the seasons know when it's time to change. Seasons in life, I believe the things in our lives reflect that same. The only thing that's constant is change, and I know that's a bit of a paradox, but it's a holy truth, because the more things change, I believe we are supposed to change, really. And where we often give ourselves trouble is where we believe that we don't need to change, or we believe that we don't want things to change. And so that's where we leave ourselves up for stagnation and the disappointment that comes with not changing or changing, whichever way. But seasons do change. Seasons in our lives change. The things that you do now, you do because of change. The ways that you are now, you do because of change. Whatever you have now, something had to change for it to bring you the point where you are in your life right now. And it just makes sense for us to appreciate that rather than fighting it. Is basically the first lesson that I would have learned. And as a result, I'm sharing even now. Seasons do change, and there is so much beauty in the changing of seasons. We see so much beauty in ourselves, with so much beauty in the people around us, even the very environment and the place. But seasons do change, and the quicker we are to accept that seasons change, the better it is for us, I believe. Yeah. Let me look quickly at so in reality, we're in the season of spring. I've come to realize now that I'm thinking about it, my favorite seasons would be spring first, then fall, then summer, and yes, winter last. I don't like the cold, but seasons change, and each season changes for its specific reason. Spring brings about the time of new beginning, new life, renewal. Summer, the summer heat, it just bright and sunny and just brightness. And fall represents for me transition. That season of time where things it's slowing down, it's changing. And then winter is just that time of coldness, but it's a time for appreciation, to appreciate the spring, the summer, to appreciate everything that was and everything that is to come, basically, if that makes sense. But yes, that's what that means to me. So a thought was running around in my mind recently that says everything happens for a reason in its given season. And it's just resounding because it just lets you understand that whilst we might not appreciate or love or enjoy everything that happens in its time, everything happens for a specific reason. So when something happens in your life, whether, let's say we take something good happening in your life, it happens for a time. It happens to build you up. It happens to um, add to your life. It happens to teach you something. In fact, I believe that there's some things that may be constant for every season. For example, I believe that every single season teaches you something. Every single season leaves an impact on your life. Every single season is there to be appreciated. Yeah, there are some things that are just constant, but then say within the good season, or what we would consider say a good season, there's success, or there's happiness, or there is love, or just it's nice, it's good. And in that season, yeah, where it's a mountaintop season, we enjoy it and everything, but then there has to be that change, that constant change. We can't stay on the mountaintop all the time, so then there's gonna bring another season. So here we now transition to another season where it's not a mountaintop season anymore, but now we're in a season of, say, going down into the valley or somewhere in the middle of the mountain. Do we stop to say, oh, I don't want to go into this season? We have little or no control over the seasons, but we just have to know that it's a part of it. It's still something to learn from. It's still something to appreciate. It's still something to do. And so we have to just know that going down into the valley is gonna be probably a dark season, a hard season, a season to cry. Even the word of God tells us that to everything there is a season, and that simply means that throughout our life there's gonna be appointed time for everything. There's gonna be an appointed time to cry, to build, to tear, to sow, to all of that. But we have to appreciate that first, and then know that, listen, in each season, what do I take from this season? Because I still believe that every season adds to the overall experience of life in general. So what do I take from this season? What do I learn from this season? And another thing is, I can't take one season into another season. I just have to understand that each season comes in its own time and it comes for its own reason. So I just have to be open and understand that, listen, this is life. We just have to take it in its season. Appreciate what it was in the winter. We learn to appreciate the sun because it's not there. But it's just the same when in the good times, we value what we have. But then I guess there's gonna come a season where we reminisce, or we remember the good times when we are going through the hard stuff. But it is what it is. The other thing is, and I think is one of the biggest thing, is that though the seasons change, we serve a God who is bigger than those seasons, but who is just very, very present in all of these seasons. And he's the one, I believe, who orchestrates all of these seasons. He's the one who says how long each season lasts and what goes on. He's the one that sustains throughout all of these seasons. And that's the one thing that's mind-blowing for me, because it just reminds me, it just lets me know that good, bad, indifferent, God is still God. He always will be. His faithfulness is what is not seasonal. It's constant. It's never ending. It's never changing. And that is what I believe is the key to each season. To know that, in the sunny season, look up, there's God. In the winter season, he's still there. It might look different, but he's still there. You might find him somewhere else, but he's still there. And that's the little lesson there. Seasons do change, and this journey of life, we basically need to just learn to understand and appreciate and accept each season. No, say you can't change it. Just live with it. Just work with it, and you'll find a greater appreciation for it. And funny enough, that brings me to my second little lesson, which tells me, Run your own race at your own pace, because yes, seasons change and all of that, but we are in this thing called life, which is such a blessing, it's such a privilege that we, if we're not careful, take for granted. But this is the things like this that cause you to realize that, run your own race. I've come to realize that I am me. And it took some doing, it took some time, but I realized that I'm me. I'm nobody else. I remember earlier on in life, I would want to be this person. I want to be that person. I want to be like this person. But eventually I come to realize they were not created to be me. I was not created to be them. And so rather than sitting and comparing and saying, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I just realized that it makes sense to embrace who it was that God have created me to be, and just understand what He has in store for me. I mean, I'm not going to get everything all the time, because there are still some things that you still don't understand, but it just comes with walking with Him each and every day. But you walk at your own pace. Well, I did say run your race, but we're doing this thing knowing full well that I'm walking with the Lord in the power of His might and all of that. He knew what He wanted me to be. He knew my job description. He knew what purpose He has in store for me. And so rather than looking at the next person who is not me, be me and run my own race. Comparison is the thief of joy, and that's a big little lesson that I've learned, that rather than comparing me to somebody else, just appreciate me for me and love that and live that. Comparison is the thief of joy. I said that before, but I think I needed to say it again. Don't be comparing you to. The only thing I think you should be comparing yourself to is the version of yourself that you once were. I think probably that's the only way I can get away with comparing. You compare the better person that you are now, the more learned that you are now with what you didn't know before. That's the only comparison I think that is acceptable, and even so in some measure. But comparison, it doesn't work. It only takes you away from today. It takes away from what you should be enjoying. It takes away from what you should be doing, what you should be embracing. Just know that, listen, you are you. God made you, and just love that. And then the next little lesson that I've learned, and this is the most recent, and because I'm still in this one, it's just this issue of trust. It's just trust, and specifically trusting God with everything. I mean, I did say walking with the Lord, walking in His identity that He would have called for me. But so easy to say that I trust, but in reality, I'm realizing that really I don't trust, because if I want to be in full, constant control all the time of everything, all the circumstances, wanting to be able to change the seasons at will, if you say that, or wanting to be this, or it means I'm really not trusting. Trust determines, or trust means that you completely rely on. And if I completely rely on God, it means that I wouldn't have the control to the levels that I seek to have the control. It may sound ridiculous to some persons, but this is the essence of our faith, that we understand that God is in control, and His control is supreme and sovereign, and He knows all because He is above all. And if He says, then the ultimate or the best thing to do is to just trust, because He knows it. And it goes back to how we see ourselves in relation to how we see God. Because if we see God as being God and being supreme and being above all and everything, understanding that He's all-knowing and all-seeing and everything, and then we understand that we are made in His image for His glory, then we would understand full well that, you know what, if He is God and I'm His and I'm in Him, then why should I worry? All I need to do is obey. So it basically made me realize that, you know, if I'm not trusting, it means that I don't know, you know. And so I'm learning with each passing day to really understand first and foremost who this my God is, that He is faithful, He's true, He's just, He is all that He says He is. His promises are true. Once He says it, then know full well that He will do it. And that's it. There's no comparison. The song says you have no rival, you have no equal, and that's just simply it, you know. There's no one that can be compared to my God. There's no one that can even no, there's just no one. And so if I know this God and He says this, then all I'll have to do is to understand that He will do it. And why it's so hard for me to trust sometimes is because I walk by sight and not by faith. Because being in this temporal world, I would tempted to do that. But you walk by faith and not by sight means you know that you're in His hands. He said He will perfect everything that concerns us. So just let go and trust. When we try to control the outcomes of everything, that's where we get ourselves into trouble, because we can't do it all. And we are the arm of flesh. We are bound to fail. But He is not. He is God. He's above everything. And all we have to do oftentimes is just learn to let go. There's power in learning to let go. But you see, it comes down to what we know of culture versus the kingdom. Because culture tells us that no, we have to always be in control. It tells us no, we have to. But God says, trust me, obey. And with that, if we learn to do that, we'll find that so many things are different, so many things are better, and we'll just find this newness in this God. So these are the little lessons that I wanted to share in this bit. Hope you liked, hope you enjoyed, hope you were inspired somewhere along the line. I do hope you also like the little DIY bits, decor bits that we did. With that, I say thanks for watching, thanks for joining. Feel free to share in the comments below, subscribe, and see you next time.